Welcome to session 2 of module 15, cybersecurity threats and its classifications. And in this session, we will be covering the following sections: new threat risk, smart grid, classification of cyber attacks and examples, attacks in smart grids at various stages, consequences of cyber attacks. So the first topic what we are going to see is new threat risk in the smart grid. So the complex infrastructure and the network which is integrated with the smart grid provide potential attackers and unintentional errors which can happen, which can bring the infrastructure down. And the networks are linked, which introduces common vulnerabilities. There could be denial of service type of attacks. There could be data injection type of attacks. Increased number of entry points. There are multiple interface points which will be opened up and which become entry points for all these security issues. Compromise of data confidentiality and customer privacy. So that since the data is being monitored and captured from the customer places, it gives another security threat of customer privacy. This classification of cyber attacks. In smart grid, the different cyber attacks are classified under three different categories. The first one is component wise, second is protocol wise, and the third is the topology wise. The component wise, field components like RTU, which are present in the system, attacked through remote access. It is a physical security threat. Protocol wise, so since all these devices communicate using a common protocol, injection of data can through in this communication protocol can make a system malfunction. Topology wise, so since all these devices and all these smart grid systems are networked together, and network topology, if it is altered, then the routing can go bad and the data which is intended for one grid can go to a different grid. So this is again a denial of service attack is also possible with this topology wise classification, under this topology wise classification. Now let's look at the attacks against this smart grid at different stages. If you see, cyber attack on smart grid is classified into three categories: type 1, type 2, and type 3. So if type 1 is the highest complicated attack, because if it happens at that level, that is at the generation level, the generation plan can come to a standstill. That means it could be like the complete state or complete district, there won't be any power, that power can be disrupted. The next level is at the distribution and control. So it is little bit lower, less, I won't call it as lower, but it may not affect more people so if the attack is on distribution and control. And the third is the type 3 kind of attack, which is on the smart meters. So that is at the consumption side. So since there also it is a standardized protocol and people can inject data, the wrong information can come, and when the wrong information is like from a lot of smart meters, if it comes, that can then that is even more severe. So if you look at it at different level of a smart grid attack, type 1 is the highest and more risk. So what we say is hacking a single power plant is equal to hacking multiple thousands of meters. So that is the level of security which will be impacting if there is an attack at type 1. So if you see in this picture, from top to down, the way it can be hacked also. So it is very easy to hack from the smart meter, but it is really difficult to go and hack into a plant. So easier to hack is from smart meter, difficult is at the plant. But if it is hacked, the issues which can come in is like if a plant is hacked, then more security issues can happen. So what we saw is at different layers and at different levels how it can affect. Now look at a case where this smart grid can attack at different network layers. So if you see this diagram, you will see a home area network, you see a wide area network, and a none. So if in each network, the different kind of attacks can come in. So if you see the hand data injection to the smart meters, replay attacks, physical layer attack, and if you home area network, there is a distribution system, so it can also get into the SCADA attacks. And when you come to the WAN, wide area network, here again at the DCU level, there will be injection of data, cyber security, network based attacks, and physical layer attacks. All this can happen even at the wide area network, at the distribution and transmission, and also at the generation. So at different network layer, different kind of threats can come. So now let's look at in detail about stages of attack points. So from generation system, distribution and transmission, and then at the consumption side. So these are the different stages. What are the different stages of attack points? So if you see in the generation system, there is the numerical relays in the generation plants adapt a protocol which is of IEC standard 61850 or for information exchange. And anybody can launch a denial of service attack causing the relay to malfunction. So if a relay settings or relay is made malfunction, then there can be tripping which can happen and the power disruption can come. If an adversary manages to find a security hole, it can easily gain access inside the local area network and plant a Trojan or a virus and get a backdoor entry, hence enabling the adversary or the equipment to compromise the digital control modules by disrupting the control logic. And this is at the generation system. An adversary may easily invade the SCADA system to change the frequency measurements provided to automatic governor control. And if these changes are coming up in the generation, then a generation system that is at the power plant, then the disruption cost for the power disruption will be really high. The Modbus protocol does not provide security against unauthorized entry. So if you look at the current Modbus systems, they don't have any encryption, any authentication mechanism for transmitting any data. So an adversary with IP connectivity can corrupt RTUs or PLCs, leading to undesired system operation. At the transmission side, so all these distributed transmission and distributed systems are also networked through a wide area network, and all they if an adversary manages to infiltrate any one of the SCADA networks in a WAN connecting load dispatch center, then it can cause havoc to the entire system operation. RTUs and PLCs also have same vulnerabilities in the transmission system as was in the case of a generation system. The present cybersecurity infrastructure HVDC links are substandard with no authorization and access control features put into their SCADA network. This is the current state of the network. The SCADA system, RTUs, and PLCs are assumed to be worked in an independent mode or a standalone mode. So there was no security which is put in place as of now. And when this network is exposed, or when this hardware and SCADA system is exposed, and when it is coming connected to the public network, and the security and the attacks will be higher. An attacker can send incorrect operational data to the fax device consulting into unnecessary VAR compensation causing instability to the whole transmission system. The third one, which we see, is the distribution system. So, generation, transmission, and distribution system, all of them have SCADA systems, PLCs, or TUs, which are insecure. And any adversary can remotely connect or disconnect the device or tamper with data sent to the system operator or sneak into the confidential data of the consumers. Also, if an adversary managed to send false data packets to inject negative pricing in the system, then it will result in power shortages at targeted area, causing loss of revenue to the utility company. Networking and communication with AMI infrastructure will rely on technologies like WLAN, ZigBee, Mesh, um, WiMAX, and all this wireless standard which follows IEEE standards, which by default do not provide authorization mechanism. So assume a case if a device is made with a default, all the device when it is coming for the installation comes with a default IP address. If this IP address is not changed and someone can know this is the existing IP address of a particular router or particular device, they will be able to get access to that network and get all the data. And also, they can inject some data which is not intended for. An advisory can hijack the VPN of distribution utilities at the distribution system level. So these are the three different stages. Now let's see what are the different techniques to detect these attacks. So there are five different techniques which, I mean, these are the maybe one of the five techniques which can be used to detect this attack. There can be many other ways to detect. Techniques to use to detect attacks, they are lightweight message authentication method. It is used to secure smart grid systems where distributed meters are mutually authenticated by using supervised learning algorithms. So the data, whatever we are getting, if these are supervised and it is monitored, and if there is a spurious data which is coming in, that deviations can be sensed by monitoring the and by a learning if there is a learning algorithm. So generalized likelihood ratio detector. It is a statistical step used to compare goodness of fit two models. It expresses how many times more likely the data are under one model than the other. The fourth one is chi-square test as an attack detector. It is used to determine whether there is a significant difference between the expected frequencies and the observed frequencies in one or more categories. The deviation is expected and estimated value, and measured value is used to detect malicious attack in the smart grid. So if the frequency of the data which was coming when it is in the normal condition, and if it is changed due to some attack on the particular system, either transmission or distribution or generation, that can be sensed by checking at the normal frequency of the data which comes in. This approach is fast and it can be easily implemented. Consequence of cyber attacks. Component wise, mislead data presented to control system operator. It damage to field equipment if supervisor performs control operation based on inaccurate field data. Loss of service due to intruder shutting down the device. In protocol wise, so what all the different kind of consequence which will come in the protocol wise attacks. Financial loss if the attack lead to excess generation of output. Safety vulnerability if a line is energized while linemen are in the field servicing the line. Equipment damage if control commands are sent to the field resulting in overload condition. And believe me, all these attacks are very harmful, I mean, even threatening to life. And topology wise, delay or inhibition of real time data exchange. As a result of control system Operators may fail to have a complete view of electrical power grid system status, leading to incorrect decision making. In this session, we were looking at different attacks which is possible on a smart grid system at its different stages: generation, transmission, and distribution, and at the consumption side, and also what all the different, how do we identify this attacks. So there are a few points which we have discussed. The next session we will be looking at how do we provide this security, looking at the objective, strategy, and requirement. Thank you.